Welcome everyone to the very first episode of the Gaffin Podcast. This is going to be a thought-provoking podcast series to hustle yourself into the Web3 gaming revolution. And I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm very excited for some of our guests we have today. I've got a lot of questions to ask them. You can call me Steve. I am the content creator of Gaffin, and I'm also going to be hosting the podcast today for you, asking the questions and really getting what we need from the actual creators themselves. And I'm just going to say again, I'm very excited to sit down with such revolutionary guests in the way of gaming. If you yourself are a gamer or want to create games, this is absolutely the podcast for you. I promise you that. Now, we're going to just go ahead and get into our guests. So we have some very successful guests from the AELF blockchain and Virtual Labs to push the boundaries, as they say. So we have Jose here from Virtual Labs. Hello, Jose. Thank you for joining us. As well as Denzel from AELF. As I was mentioning, I was actually looking through your projects and, kind of checking things out to see what you guys do. And I personally am a very passionate gamer. This is kind of my game corner. You see my Switch and all my stuff here. But I also actually, for quite a while, wanted to be a video game developer. So I think that you guys are going to be really interesting to talk to in this regard as well. This was something I actually had spent legitimately a lot of time in my life thinking I was going to do for a living, was developing video games. But that being said, please don't forget to share this, leave likes, comments, just help us with the engagement on this. If you really do want to see more stuff like this with awesome guests who agreed to give us their time, definitely please give us some engagement. So let's go ahead and kick things off and get started with the first question. And I'll go ahead and start with you, Denzel, and then Jose as well can kind of jump in on this, or we can kind of do it however it feels natural. So please give me a quick overview of your projects, the main features, solutions, and things that users can feel that they can get involved with. So Denzel, we'll start with you and then we'll jump over to Jose.
Yep, awesome. Thank you so much for having me here. So a little bit about AELF. So AELF, we are actually a high performance layer one blockchain solution featuring like a multi-chain sidechain technology for unlimited scalability. So we were actually one of the, I would say, pioneers in this like concept, is to kind of encourage people who are unfamiliar with like blockchain technology. So maybe like OG developers who are more familiar with like with like using C# to basically kind of learn and to be able to like test and figure out how to basically implement blockchain technology or learn it on their own accord, rather than having to basically learn everything from scratch. So yeah, here at AELF, we are pretty big in gaming, I would say. So my main focus of course, is in gaming. We are looking to grow our gaming vertical here at AELF really rapidly, and we're looking to import as many quality projects as possible, which is why also we are speaking with Gaffin. So yeah, this is like a pretty quick overview of AELF and what we are doing, and yeah.
I really appreciate that, and I will say I loved the website. I thought it was very beautiful, a lot of great graphics. Clearly took a lot of time and effort into that. But yeah, that's exciting, because I think with how things are evolving these days, there's going to be a lot of people who want to get into the gaming creation space, and helping them shepherd them into that without having to do the nitty-gritty. Like, the reason I could never become a game developer was because it was such an immense amount of work that I truly personally didn't feel capable to do it. So I think that's a really interesting concept. And Jose, up next, please tell us what you got for us.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. We used to be game designers here at Virtual Labs, and we instead built infrastructure, and we're letting the real professionals handle the gaming side. Our we started out with putting poker on chain, and we realized how bad the user experience is. Every time you want to raise or bet or fold, it's going to be, click, 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 approve the MetaMask transaction, pay gas, wait 30 seconds. Terrible user experience. And so we took inspiration from the Lightning Network, which is a stake channel. So basically you deposit your capital, you buy in the beginning, and then after that, everything happens over a peer-to-peer network. And so it happens instantly, for free, and with zero friction. And we've taken that idea and we've brought it to EVM. We've made it a lot more powerful. And so essentially what Virtual Labs do, we create these virtual rollups that you can take an infinite amount of data with an infinite amount of players and can bundle it and achieve on-chain verification specifically of game data extremely cheaply. And we basically bring fully on-chain gaming and we make it possible, and we make it for the masses.
I love to hear that. As a poker fan, I just kind of casually have cards right in right in my reach. I personally am also a poker player, so I love to hear that. That's an interesting concept. I have not personally played poker on blockchain yet. I've done it on the different various websites that you can, but I appreciate that concept as well. There's a ton of annoying complications towards the world of poker, especially online. It's a big thing. So I appreciate you sharing that. So with this next question, and again, I'm just going to kind of reference to you guys in the audience. I have very specifically worded these questions after looking to these, so excuse me as I kind of read this off, but I want to make sure I put it in the words that I want. So in the Web3 gaming market, lots of Web3 game developers make their games more like the Web2, right? Cooler graphics, more funny gameplay, simple onboarding processes, and no need to create wallets or own NFTs to play and earn. But recently there's been a full-on game, excuse me, a full-on chain game concept that appears, which has shown the courage to put the Web3 back into the Web3 gaming, sort of speak, because, you know, people, there's been this weird shame of Web3, if you will. So fully on-chain versus partly on-chain games, what will be the future of Web3 gaming? Right? A mixture of both of those? Or do you think that Web3 gaming will be, if that question makes sense? I know it sounds it's a little speculative, right? But I personally, as like a fan of cartoons and art and things like that, feel that it's they've been trying in the Web3 space to run it like regular Web2, right? And so what are your thoughts on the future in that regard?
Yeah, don't mind if I jump in here. My opinion is that there are a lot of benefits to Web3 gaming. So you have the benefits of it's censorship resistant. You get to own your own assets. It's trustless. It's anti-cheat. There are very significant benefits. I describe the benefits, say, around here. However, the costs, having your own seed phrase, paying gas, waiting for transactions, the costs currently outweigh the benefits for nearly every application, with the exception of some real money gaming. What we do is we reduce those costs to zero so people can just enjoy the benefits. And so in the current status quo, nothing will be fully on chain because it's never feasible to do that. But what we do is we make it fully on chain with none of the detriments. And so you're able to basically have that peer-to-peer verification and then make that on chain super easy, super cheap. I think Denzel can jump in here and sort of attest that they're making it easier on the account abstraction side and onboarding users. And we're just the invisible layer between the blockchain and the game, and make that feasible for a lot of real money gaming.
Yeah, I think I fully agree as well. Like there, like in terms of like the pros and cons of on-chain gaming or like the use of blockchain. But I think we have come pretty far in terms of trying to remove that friction for like people who are not familiar with blockchain technologies to basically start playing like on-chain games. But I think you mentioned like in terms of like fully on-chain or like partially on-chain. I think moving forward, personally, I feel that I do prefer a partially on-chain games because I think it with like fully on-chain games, like it might require like you might encounter with issues in terms of like scalability, and sometimes I feel that there isn't really a need to bring everything on-chain. And yeah, so I feel like maybe like what's really key or what's really important, or what's really necessary can be brought on-chain. Like say, for example, the certain assets that we feel that are of high value that users want to be able to take it out and have ownership or be able to trade on like external marketplaces or have like full ownership of it can be brought on chain, or like different aspects within the game can be brought on chain as well, like maybe like more PvP stuff can be recorded on chain. But I think if you have the entire game, like every single small transaction or action done by players, I think it will cause like huge issues. I don't think there is any chain that as of now is able to scale with like a huge, maybe like MMORPG game. So yeah, I think at least for my personal point of view, I think for the near future, partially on-chain games would be more optimal for most games moving forward.
Yeah, that's nice. I think there's always going to be, for probably many years, that fear, right, of the blockchain, that many people don't understand it. It's even people who use it don't quite understand it. So I understand the mixture there. That's, in my opinion, the smartest way. And again, the casual gamer can feel that they can understand it and be a part of it in a way that they can then sort of learn towards that. So I appreciate those perspectives. My next one, I'm going to say, so there are, I couldn't even count how many chains there are right now. I'm just going to say lots and lots, thousands maybe. And it's really a barrier leading to confusion for both the Web2 and Web3 users, particularly the gamers. So tell me how ELF differentiates itself from other blockchain platforms regarding user accessibility and also Web3 projects' scalability. And I'd be interested in your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so with regards to ELF, we try our best to kind of ease in terms of like user accessibility. So I think as Jose has mentioned, like with regards to like account extraction wallets, so we do have like an incubated wallet as well, otherwise known as Portkey, in which we actually are working really closely with to kind of create the best user experience for the game to come on board ELF. So Portkey can act as like a layer on the back end. So basically, once players like they just come in and say like they download the mobile app, they create an account using their Gmail or their socials or whatsoever. Basically, the Portkey wallet's immediately created on the back end for them. You don't have to see or interact with it anyway. If they do gain certain assets by playing the game, it will automatically be stored in their Portkey wallet. And only if they want to start selling or they want to interact with the wallet, the asset, and to kind of take it out, then that's kind of like where they would have to like learn or like be guided as to like a step-by-step process as to how to utilize a wallet, how to be able to have ownership of like their assets, so on and so forth. So with regards to the scalability, I would say we do have, like I mentioned, like the main chain sidechain architecture. So this allows us to give like a basically like a entire like sidechain or like a layer two of sorts, or like a roll up to basically each individual game to be able to run it on their own. So this gives them a lot more scalability as compared to if, say, a game is currently building on Ethereum or a game is currently building on Solana, where you would basically have to fight, I guess, in like a very congested like layer one in a way. So it'll be really costly as well. And in terms of scalability, there will be some sort of issues as well. You run into issues. So yeah, we do try to give each individual project, especially if they grow big, to have their own sidechain to be able to have more throughput, more transactions without the need to have like congestion or like issues, I guess, with regards to transactions going through.
Yeah, fair enough. Jose, do you have anything you'd like to say on that for the next question?
No, totally agree with Denzel.
Yeah, fair enough. No, I mean, that was very well put, man. So all right, so this one's gonna be I'm gonna be throwing some statistics at you before the question just to build up to it. So we've got in 2023, $1.8 billion was lost to Web3 hackers and fraudsters, which is something that I kind of care a lot about, so I want to talk about. With some of the biggest hacks of the year in terms of losses was Mixin Network, 200 million, Euler Finance, 197 million, Multichain, 126 mil, Poloniex, however that's pronounced, 126 mil, and many others. That's not even all of them. That was just the biggest ones that blew my mind. So learning from these attacks, as any business has to do, right? How does your project ensure the security and the privacy of user data and transactions in this regard? And what measures/technology do you have in place to create a secure user experience, right? How are you going to, like, be different than those kind of things, if you will? And that's for either of you to throw out there.
Yeah, maybe Jose, do you have like anything to kickstart this? Because to be honest, I'm not a very technical guy, but then
Sure.
obviously I'll chime in as much as I can.
Fair enough. Totally understand.
I'm actually not a technical guy either, but one of the biggest compliments I ever got. I just finished ETH Denver. I'm now in Breckenridge skiing with some friends. You've caught me out of my element.
Nice.
But the shout out to the Gaffin team for having me and making this work. The biggest compliment I got just a few days ago was that I was the most technical, non-technical person someone had met. So I think I have a good grasp to understand at least my own product, and I'll take that, right? So I can try and walk through how we're secure.
Yeah.
So we very much believe in the idea of user validated data. So users in the ZK state channel. So I can sort of walk through how this would work. So the previous paradigm is, every time you want to bet or fold, it's an on-chain transaction. That sort of makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. However, how do you do it if, you're just buying in? So how this works is, say, Denzel, Jasmine, and I are going to play. We all lock, say, 100 USDC into the state channel, right? And then I want to bet 10. I'm going to put 10 and then sign it with my wallet, the same wallet that has the public key associated with my deposit. Now, Denzel and Jasmine are going to be able to see that and see, okay, that checks out. They store that signature. Denzel does the same thing to me. I have now his bet, and we keep doing this over and over again, and we form all of our own ledgers. And now that we have all of our own ledgers, at any single point, we are validating every single one of these. It is not intensive. You run it on your own device, but this is just signature, and this runs at the speed of your network connection. This is super easy. This is not like mining or Ethereum validating. And at any single point, any single one of us can take that proof and then put it on chain, and it validates for the cost of 6,000 gas, which is minuscule. And that's how we handle the second part of your question, which is how we keep it secure. And then, in theory, this is secure. Users are validating their own data. It is end-to-end security. So you would need, say me and Denzel want to, bully Jasmine and say, hey, you actually didn't win $100. She records her own ledger and can put that on the chain. She is essentially acting as her own in this virtual roll-up, this virtual blockchain, and can validate that on her own. And that's theoretically secure. How do we make it practically secure? Well, we just finished 7 weeks, one of Halborn's longest audit. They have a unbroken, immaculate track record in auditing, and we just finished just 5 days ago. And so we've also made sure that the contracts and the whole Rust cryptography is secure as well. And so that's how we are very committed to user security and privacy.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a really well done answer. I know that's a tough question because it's hard to put into easy words, right? The technological knowledge of all of that, but I think that explains it really well. It makes sense, and it's good to see you guys have a at least general thought and consistency into what you want to do for your people. Now, talking sort of into the GameFi sense, let's get there to the gaming, that kind of thing. So, obviously in 2021, GameFi became like the biggest trend and brought this, huge wave of people to Web3. I'm sure we all remember that happening. So do you think that GameFi will still be the bullish segment in 2024 and onwards? I personally do. I'd like to hear from you guys, though. And if so, how do you plan to foster a I guess the best way to say is kind of tailor-made solutions for Web3 gaming. And along with GameFi, are there any potential trends and narratives that you see coming about in the future in the similar crypto sphere?
I think with regards to GameFi, definitely I do think it would be a bullish segment or a bullish topic for in the upcoming year or so, definitely. Because I think we have been seeing lots of games that have been building since the very past bull cycle. So as you guys know, top quality games, it really takes kind of years to basically build out everything in terms of the assets, the entire game design, the entire infrastructure. So yeah, I think we are really starting to see these projects kind of come to life, kind of starting to launch their alpha, their beta version and going live. So really excited to see the progress or how these games will basically turn out. And with regards to I think you mentioned any potential trends or narratives as well. So I think what's most important, so I think we will maybe start pivoting more from the hyper casual or casual games over to something a little bit more heavy. So maybe MMORPG or something more a little bit more hardcore. And I'm really excited to see such higher quality games kind of being produced. And I think a lot of them, as we all know, they do understand the need to basically onboard all gamers and not just Web3 gamers. So I'm really excited as well to see the user journey for all of how they're going to structure the user journey for all of these games. Because maybe an example is, say, for example, I'm a player of Counter-Strike. So usually how it works is first I play the game, I really enjoy it, and then I start to learn more about the ecosystem. The game is on Steam, or basically I might have skins that I can buy, I can trade and whatnot. So it really is from just playing the game and loving the game and then starting to learn more, and then maybe being fully invested in the game and wanting to have a stake in the game, say spending money to basically buy skins and whatnot. So it's basically I play CSGO, I learn more about Steam, I mean, now I live in CSGO, I live in Steam, and then I want to play all my games in Steam, and then I'll spend money in Steam and CSGO. So it really is that user journey that's really important for like the Web2 gamers to kind of learn a lot more. So I'm really excited to see that as well.
It's a great answer. Jose, what do you think?
Just a quick addition. I also am super bullish on gaming in 2024. I think both of you guys are super well positioned there. One thing I want virtual to be better about is, and I think one of the micro trends in gaming is going to be mobile gaming. How cool! You know, there's like those ads you see on Instagram for those like that gameplay with like the little person
Yeah,
like
yeah,
going in the
yeah.
hole or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
That crazy stuff. That's my type of game. I want the
Nice.
game that in between meetings, 10 minutes, I can just kill my brain and
That's
just do
fair.
something, right? I'd be so much more into it if I knew if I spent money on that and played and then I got bored of that game, it was interoperable to another game like by the same studio or a different studio
That's
and I could save my progress and keep playing. And that would be I'd be so into that. And right now our tech does not work well on mobile. And that's one thing that I'm going to strive for
yeah.
in Q2 of 2024 to make a lot better because I think mobile is going to be huge. I think mobile just passed like PC and console gaming in Web 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's huge nonetheless. And we definitely, Web 3 needs to be better about mobile overall.
That's great. Are you guys old enough? Do you guys remember Addicting Games? Because I love that style of game as well. Like where it's just short little clips and burst games. Because like you were talking about, like the kind of game you love, which is like it makes it happen and you don't have to spend so much time in it. But that used to be a hub for that kind of gaming thing. And so yeah, I absolutely agree. I think there's something nice to be said, but also mixing it in with the Web3 with the classical. I guess you would say the more like era defined games. Like I still have a Xbox 360 in my background right here because I play that all the time. And like you want a game that's that memorable, right? That's not just the everyday kind of flash in the pan type deal. So I definitely appreciate that. And in my next one, so recently I've noticed
Yep,
BRC20
100% agree as
tokens have
well. Yeah.
presented new possibilities for development on the Bitcoin network. And BRC20 sparked widespread community enthusiasm, leading to a substantial increase in Bitcoin miners' earnings. However, BRC20 is just a test version with a lot of risks, high gas fees, and features that are still potentially limited. A lot of people are kind of having FOMO right now. And to be honest, that is a signature of the Web3 world. But do you have any advice for communities when facing any emerging trends like this? How to hold on, how to not have FOMO in the face of that?
I guess it is really hard to kind of not FOMO into like the latest hype. So like say for example nowadays it's like AI or DPIN or like as you mentioned like BRC or like I guess like the 404 token standard projects. So I think it is I guess it's really important to kind of like do like your research or like sometimes in crypto everything is really fast paced. So sometimes it does make sense to in a way FOMO when really because everything is really like narrative driven or like sentiment driven. So if you see like the past week or so, basically there is like a whole wave of like meme coins starting to pump. So obviously if have time in the market, you do understand how these narratives move and shifts really quickly and you're able to catch that, then I guess by all means you should try to kind of catch that wave. But if like you're really new, I think it is best to kind of take some time to kind of learn like how each narrative kind of shifts and don't exactly FOMO into every single narrative that kind of pops up every other week or like every month, because you would probably be like the exit liquidity, or as the I guess retail traders would like to call it as well. So yeah, really is to just kind of do your homework, understand like the market trends and how things really kind of shift over time. I would say that is really important, and like being able to kind of control yourself.
Now, again, Denzel is saying it all. I don't have too much to add. Specific to BRC, I'd say, I mean, definitely, time in the market better than time in the market. You caught me. I'm an old TradFi guy. I actually dropped out of college and out of traditional finance to start Virtual Labs. So that's my background. And hype is great, but the reason why, we went through a giant bear market, and AI is pumping now or whatever. Everything is there's the best opportunity is when no one's talking about it. So just stick with it. Believe if you do the diligence, believe in it, and just hold. It's really that simple.
it really is the best if you do have like a thesis on like something that isn't really pumping yet, but you do believe, like say for example, people start catching on, like the project has a very strong team, really has a really unique like market acquisition or like a unique market fit. So when you do have that thesis and you do have conviction in like say a certain project or like a certain like say for example, like say for some DP in something like entire, I'm not exactly sure of the term. It's not genre, not exactly genre, but like yeah, for like an
You know what you mean,
entire like
yeah.
project type, then yeah, I think it really pays off and it really feels really good when you're able to kind of pull it off with conviction in the end.
I would say the word niche, maybe, but I get
Yeah,
exactly what you're
niche.
saying. Genre, niche, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, on top of that last question, almost very similar, but a little different in the fact that, like, what I see at least when a trend comes, we've got kind of two options, especially for a project, right? You're going to either catch the trend as quickly as possible or follow your established roadmap as a project. So, I'm just curious as in your eyes, to build a sustainable project, what criteria would you consider either like following the trend or developing as planned, or maybe a mixture of both, right? Maybe 30, 70, whatever. What would you guys think would be the best way to go about any project?
Maybe Jose, you would like to start
Yeah,
off
so
first?
can you specify the question a bit? So it's basically, how do we build ourselves or how do we
Mhm.
invest?
Yeah. How are you going to? Well, I guess investment would be sort of part of the criteria of the overall question. So maybe I'm not asking it as broadly as I should, but I've just noticed that a lot of the trend is either you're going to like a lot of companies will choose one or the other. And I'm wondering maybe if you guys kind of have a mixture of both or one or the other that you prefer, and that is to continue to follow a
Mm,
trend maybe in your audience, your niche, right? Someone's doing well. Let's say like you're on YouTube, someone got 1 million views. Well, I'm going to follow that as opposed to I'm going to pave my own way and work towards that kind of thing and just develop as I planned, right? I had it written out. So do you feel that you chase the trend, develop as planned, or meet in the middle, right? Kind of figure that out.
right. I definitely say just stick to the trend. So there's a famous saying, there's three ways to make money in this world. It's be fast, be smart, or cheat. A lot of people in this industry cheat. Um, Thankfully, we don't know any of them. So you can either be fast or you can be smart. Being smart is sticking to something, building it, and maybe getting a little lucky. Being fast is chasing the trends and basically being among the first. Because if you hear about it on Twitter or on YouTube, it's already too late. There's 90% of the gains are already
Yeah.
gone. And so I'm a big believer in, we have been, as a whole industry, I mean, take crypto at large, eating glass for the past 36 months until now we're $500 off all time high. And, it's because we believed and because we held. So, always do your own, not financial advice, do your own diligence. But with any particular industry, uh, you know, the index funds, Bitcoin as an index fund will beat any hedge fund trading. Only 10% make money, all those cliches.
Yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough. Absolutely. Denzel, do you have
Yeah.
anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, I do agree as well. For the most part, I do think that there has to be like a middle ground in terms of like conviction in like what you are building, as well as like being able to pivot to what like the market kind of like wants or kind of is moving towards as well. Because like you don't want to be constantly pivoting. Like say for example, I'm a gaming project, and then I'm constantly moving between the most popular chain. So I think this would kind of like affect like development, and it kind of shows that you don't really know what you kind of want to do. Whereas at the same time, you need to be able to have strong conviction in what you're building that is,
Yeah.
or like what you're investing in basically is good enough. So it really, I feel, is like a balance between the two, I would say, because at the same time, crypto moves really quickly. You want to be able, it is most important to kind of have like the
Mm.
attention of like the Web3 users or like investors or like whatnot. So you do have to pivot along the way as to what the narratives are. But at the same time, you need to be able to have a strong like foundation of like what the core of like your project is or what the core of like your investment thesis is as well.
Yeah, that's very very well put. Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely appreciate both perspectives in that regard. Now, Jose, I think you're very right. I think what people don't understand is I like the way you said that. Actually, I've never heard someone say, but like when you see it on Twitter and YouTube, it's done. You're done, pal. 90% of the gains are gone. So yeah, it's about being able to follow along with also. I think personally, the way I look at it is like you need to know who to follow, find the right projects to follow and keep consistently along with as well, in the regard of someone you think will be consistently there for you building and growing. I think that's personally, where I stake most of it. But you're right, a lot of these, a lot of other projects very fast and loose in that regard. And in my final question, basically to kind of wrap up here. So I'll start this out with explaining that I'm an American in the United States, probably obvious from my accent, but this kind of has to do with the info of it. So in 2024, there are going to be some outstanding milestones such as Bitcoin ETF approval, Ethereum ETF, Bitcoin halving, and then 2024 United States primary elections. So what do you expect and prepare for these milestones and for the basically year of 2024? We almost have the whole year ahead of us. And could you tell me about the follow up development plans and goals in 2024 for your project? Basically, what are we looking at here for the next 10 months at this point?
That's a loaded question. I'm gonna dive into this. Let me see. So we got
Yeah,
primary elections, our own company. Let me start with the macro.
we just have a
So
lot
much
going
going
on.
on.
That's my point. Is there's so much going on at the moment. What are your thoughts on it?
I
Yeah.
don't think I actually studied economics in school, and I done a lot of macro analysis on the current
Ooh,
state of
okay.
the economy, and I've concluded that things are looking good. I believe that certain metrics indicate that the economy is headed towards a soft landing. We'll see some Fed rate cuts towards the end of this year. I think that current incumbents, to answer the politics question, have an advantage to make the economy as good as possible. And so monetary and fiscal leaders will use those powers to keep themselves in office. So that's sort of my view on macro. So I think that will continue to look positive, especially in the US, where we're doing well. I'm from Boston originally.
Yeah.
And
Fair enough. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Philly
there we
myself. I love
go.
Boston.
I was actually just in Philly for the UPenn conference. It was a lot of fun. I don't know if you went.
Awesome.
Uh,
No, no, I didn't get
and
to.
as regards to our company, we are going to continue to build fast. In the month of January and in February, we probably did a year's worth of work every week. My whole motto is let's build fast. I select people when I hire them for extremely high agency. So I will make sure that they are aware what they're getting themselves into. We work very hard. We work very fast, and very much the motto of break things. And with that, we're going to continue to ship. So we launched on testnet on January 3rd. We launched on mainnet on February 29th. 53 days. That is perhaps the shortest testnet to mainnet launch maybe ever done, and that was with auditing
Hmm.
as well. And we're moving very fast.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
And
it's
thank you,
impressive,
thank you.
actually.
Yes, shout out to the tech team, Nadeem, all of them, for getting that done. And we now have 15 games in the pipeline.
Wow.
6 are on testnet. We're going to keep bringing those to mainnet, launch one a week, and just get the party started. And so that's what you'll expect from us. We're also going to be launching some cool new products that you can start to look forward to, and yeah, you can keep that tracked through our Twitter and Discord and the like. But definitely look for some great
Awesome.
stuff.
Awesome. That's exciting. Denzel, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah. Maybe just to chime in as well, like you mentioned, I think the Bitcoin ETF approval, like the Bitcoin halving, I think being like as Jose has mentioned, $500 off like the Bitcoin all time high, it really is quite we are kind of in like uncharted territories in terms of like the Bitcoin halving has not even occurred yet. So this is something that is pretty interesting, I would say, and I would like look forward to basically what would kind of happen after the Bitcoin halving. But yeah, I think the Bitcoin ETF approval was a really strong push in terms of like TradFi and like hedge funds needing to basically hold a Bitcoin spot. And then as well as the Ethereum ETF would probably be a huge catalyst as well for anything that for Ethereum in general, as well as the general alt market. So really exciting times. I think the market really is in like turbo mode for like the past couple of months, and I am uncertain on how it will turn out, but really excited to see how it will turn out. So with regards to ELF, we are rapid. I mean, with the current bull market, we are obviously rapidly expanding, trying to get as many projects to kind of grow our ecosystem as much as possible. So at the same time, we have also just launched our incubation program called AELF Labs. So we are looking for more projects to basically incubate and to basically build on ELF. So yeah, in general, it really is just like rapidly getting growing our ecosystem and getting more projects on board, and basically increasing the brand awareness for ELF as well. And yeah, really exciting times for us.
What I really love about this industry and about Gaffin, and thank you for putting this together, is how we can all work together. And Gaffin and us are already working together, and I'm now learning about the exciting developments at ELF for the first time. And there's really just so much room for collaboration.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for those who have belief in the industry and belief in what's going on, like there's a lot of room for collaboration because there's only room to grow, I think, at this point. Like you were saying, we're so close to a high, and honestly, like in the next 5-10 years, I personally have no doubt things like Bitcoin and all the, established projects and coins that are working right now to really build up are going to be booming in a way that from now will look significant, because I think that with what we're seeing as Americans, we're doing great, but I think in any economy in the world, there's so much, I want to say the word, I guess, like turmoil. There's so much kind of doubt, but by the people, that things like Bitcoin is, in my mind, like the universal language, right? It's the universal money that we can all be a part of, and trickling down to all of the other useful crypto projects and things like that. I just use Bitcoin as the biggest, but yeah, I definitely am very bullish with these kind of projects, and I mean, who knows where we can get with the Web3 gaming kind of stuff as well. Like that's such a bright future. I think in the way almost like gaming was back in the 70s, 80s, right? When you started to see real video games, like now I think with Web3, it's it's the time where we're starting to see projects like yours that are building their way up. So, and of course the Gaffin stuff as well. But my friends, that is basically going to kind of wrap up most of my questions for the first episode, by the way. So thank you very much for coming to the Gaffin Web3 Gaming Podcast, Jose and Denzel. Before we get anywhere with it, did you guys want to say any last words about anything? Go ahead and plug and promote. I know we've kind of been talking about them, but if there's anything you'd like to say before we get wrapped up, I'd love to hear it.
Maybe for me, really kind of plug ELF, I guess. So yeah, everyone, anyone who's listening, like do check out ELF. So basically, we are like a layer one blockchain solution, as I've mentioned, and we really have some exciting projects kind of lining up to launch basically on the ELF network. And at the same time, if you are a project founder, or like a builder, do have a look at ELF. We do have like a grant program basically for like games, as well as we are looking to grow DeFi vertical as well. So, and we do have like an incubation program coming up as well, as I've mentioned. So do reach out if you guys are basically interested to kind of learn more about ELF and to basically see if it is a good fit to build on ELF. And yeah, happy to kind of share more. And thank you so much for basically having me on this podcast.
Absolutely. And if we didn't specify it enough, it's AELF if you're looking it up.
Yep.
Just throwing that out there to double help. And then, Jose, is there anything you wanted to mention before we
nothing to plug. Just want to say thank you so much for having us on. I think you should also connect us. We have a lot of games that are looking for homes on different blockchains. So I think we could get something going there. Absolutely. And just shout out to Gaffin. Make sure to check them out, support them.
Yeah, thanks for taking your vacation to see us. So we appreciate that.
And yeah, Virtual Labs on Twitter. There'll be some exciting stuff, some new game launches.
Awesome. Check it out, my friends. And until next time, please subscribe, like, comment. Let us know what you think. Go let the guys know what you think. Go check out their social media. And with that, that's going to be a wrap. My name is Steve. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next
episode.
Yep. Thank you.